Welcome to the next drive breakdown. We're going to do a Buffalo Bills drive breakdown from the divisional round in the playoffs, where they had a 10-play, 70-yard drive in the final 4 minutes of the first half. Absolutely brilliant drive. This will be a great breakdown. Before I start, make sure you sign up and deposit to Underdog Fantasy using code FILM for the best higher-lower picks on all the NFL players for the 2025 season. The first play of the drive stems from the prior week when the Steelers came out in this bunch right look with Justin Fields in the game, indicating a heavy rushing situation. The Ravens responded by running a 4-2 over front with the 4 down linemen and then the 2 linebackers backed up. Now the Ravens also, they run a cover 1 hole with specifically outside leverage from their outside DBs, and as they run this play action from the offense, you notice how hard these linebackers flow to that play action. So the first play of the drive, the Bills come out in this split pistol look out of 21 personnel with those 2 running backs, the 1 tight end. Since this is a pretty heavy rushing set, the Ravens come out again in a 4-2 over front with those 4 down linemen, the 3 tech on the strong side, 1 tech on the weak side. And you also see, since they're running another cover 1, very similar situation, they have Nate Wiggins on outside shade leverage against that strong side receiver in man coverage. So to attack that, Joe Brady actions the pitch to James Cook, which holds this linebacker, holds Marlon Humphrey, especially because you have the gap scheme action from the offensive line where the offensive guard is pulling around to pass block that side defensive end. So to attack the outside shade leverage of that cornerback, they put Amari Cooper on a cross. He gets wide open here. For some reason, Josh Allen doesn't find him. I would have liked him to hit Amari Cooper as soon as he clears this middle zone in the cover 1, but it's still a pretty successful play because he flips it out to James Cook, who didn't really have a man assigned to him since the man got held up in the middle of the play due to the play action. And then you have the lead blocker out here, so that works pretty well. Just a little swing out to James Cook for a 7-yard gain, but a lot more went into that, and it could have been a lot bigger. Now the Bills come out with 6 offensive linemen on the field, including this tackle lined up to the outside of the primary tight end. Interesting formation. They're totally running the ball. In fact, they run a pitch to the right, and you'll see it works well from some awesome offensive line play going against this 3-4 over front from the Ravens, where they have those 3 down linemen shifted hard to the strong side. Now you'll see O'Cyrus Torrence does a great job getting that primary scoop step, sealing off that 3 technique from doing anything to the outside, ensuring he does not blow up that pitch. Now Spencer Brown also does a great job working against this 7 technique, because that 7 technique is actually a defensive tackle on this play, and that's going to be difficult for Dawson Knox to pick up alone. So Spencer Brown just owns him off the point of attack, and he just throws him, allowing Dawson Knox to pick him up properly, and then he climbs up to Roquan Smith perfectly, seals him off, creating a gap for Ray Davis to run through, and bang, it's a 15-yard gain for the Bills because of some great offensive line play. So the next play, they come out in the exact same formation, that tackle over outside of the tight end with 6 offensive linemen on the field is the exact same. So the Ravens, of course, respond with their exact same 3-4 over front, but you'll notice, once again, they leave this gap wide open between the 1 technique and the 9 technique. So this is a wide open gap to hit for an inside zone going to that direction. Joe Brady saw it and he wanted to exploit it. So on this play, you have the left guard, David Edwards, climb up to backer. Connor McGovern perfectly scoop step that 1 technique. Deion Dawkins block out. O'Cyrus Torrence climb up to Roquan Smith. And those front 7 guys are perfectly executed, perfectly accounted for, and it results in a 9-yard gain. Now the Bills just run a standard halfback slam attempting to hit this B gap, but Michael Pierce makes a great play on this play. He strong arms Connor McGovern, who's a pretty good center, so he occupies this entire gap just by throwing McGovern into it, while also occupying this gap just with his big old body. So then James Cook attempts to cut to that side, but Michael Pierce is obviously there able to stop it. I would have liked to see James Cook just attempt to follow the butts of his offensive linemen. Things typically start to happen if you just follow their butts, but he doesn't really do that. He goes right into Michael Pierce, so it's only a 3-yard gain on this play. Now the Bills run a jailbreak screen to that left side, so they're getting it out quick, also actioning the inside zone to James Cook, which holds this strong side linebacker. What I would have liked to see on this play is instead of Mac Hollins being the individual to block out on that corner, and then Deion Dawkins having a really difficult scoop step, attempting to pick up that 9 technique, who ultimately makes the tackle on this play. What I would have preferred to see is a cross block. It would have been an interesting play design, but I really like cross blocks because the angle's set up better. So I would have preferred to have Mac Hollins block down on this 9 technique while Deion Dawkins goes super fast out to that cornerback who he would obliterate. And I think that would have set up better because then you can have the left guard climb up to the backer who gets held down by that inside zone action. I think that would have worked perfectly on this play, but they still get a small gain on a first down. And Michael Pierce is just a freaking animal. He's lined up at the 1 technique here, and he's just going to flow hard with O'Cyrus Torrence and Connor McGovern, and he's just going to blow up this play. He's flowing hard with them. Great technique. Got those arms extended. He's super strong. Make sure Connor never really gets into him, and then just tackles James Cook as he tries to find any daylight. But when you're that big Michael Pierce body, there's no daylight to be found. So now it's third down. It's a pretty big down here. They're wanting to go up 2 scores before half. It's in the playoffs. They need to get this first down in order for that to happen. The Ravens run a cover 1 here with bluffing this linebacker pressure. So he ultimately drops off. And what I would have liked to see on this play is Josh Allen hit Khalil Shakir coming out of his break on this quick out going against inside leverage from Marlon Humphrey. That is open on this play. If he hits him right here, that's a first down easy. However, he throws it to Keon Coleman going on that slot fade, but he's working against Trey White, who's a pretty good slot corner. I just don't like this decision, but he gets pretty lucky here. He gets a DPI, but still, I would have liked to see that go to Khalil Shakir. I think that was a pretty good play design from Joe Brady and good play call on a 3rd and 5. Now they're in the red zone. The Bills have run the ball well in the red zone all year, so the Ravens call a 4-2 over front, along with press coverage from the defensive backs, helping to defend against any run game. They're pressing hard, especially if they show run. So the Bills, they motion Mac Hollins in that jet motion, which draws Marlon Humphrey off from the point of attack, which is a zone run to this right side. Now the Bills, they don't block this well at all yet. James Cook still picks up 4 yards. But what I would have liked to see is Spencer Brown peel off of his assignment quicker and climb to the backer, which would have helped seal that hole better. And then I would have also, of course, liked to see Khalil Shakir block out a lot better on his defensive back. That would have made the play go a lot smoother. I don't even know if he knew that was his assignment during the time. It didn't really look like it, but that was a blown block from him, and it resulted in only a 4-yard gain. Now this play is brutal because it totally should have been a touchdown. Joe Brady had it schemed up really well. They're running a tackle power to this play side B-gap, and O'Cyrus Torrence really screwed up this play because first off, he comes out with horrible pad level, gets into a stalemate with his 1 tech, but in addition, this play would have worked so much better if he just down blocked this 1 technique, allowed for Josh Allen to come off his butt, while Deion Dawkins then pulls around and kicks out this linebacker as he climbs up into that B-gap. That would have totally been a touchdown, but instead he just gets into a little patty cake fight with that 1 tech who ultimately makes the tackle because Josh Allen has to cut back into that A-gap and it's just not there because his blocking was absolutely horrible. So that angered me, but anyway. It's okay, though, because the entire offensive line and O'Cyrus Torrence make up for last play on this play when they're running a quarterback counter to this play side B-gap while pulling David Edwards around, kicking out that 7 technique, along with a combo block on this 3 tech, climbing up to Roquan Smith. They execute it perfectly all around. Spencer Brown absolutely demolishes that 3 tech. O'Cyrus Torrence finishes it off, and then Spencer Brown climbs up to Roquan Smith, sealing that gap for Josh Allen to hit that hard, along with that pulling guard that's kicking out that 7 technique. And then you have the DB who's crashing hard to the outside, expecting for Josh Allen to get spilled by Roquan Smith, but not on Spencer Brown's watch. He's kicking him out, and that little gap for Josh Allen is beautiful. He's going to take it for a touchdown, and bang, that's 7 points. It's a 2-score game going into halftime.